Good morning, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going down my add-ons I use. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so what I'm actually going to be talking about today is what type of add-ons do I use, and let's just go over all of them right now. Now, looking at my add-on list, we have quite a fair amount of these, and to be honest, I don't really bother with UI stuff. I mainly deal with stuff that is actually useful than just making my screen look pretty. What I'm trying to say is the types of add-ons that I use are more utility based than actual UI, play aroundy, all that jazz. So, that without further ado, let's get into our first one, which is ATLASLOOT. Now, ATLASLOOT is an add-on which you can pull up which different types of instances and what type of things that can drop from those instances. So this is usually used to find out what type of stuff I want from certain specific types of farms. So say I wanted to farm a specific dungeon, such as, I don't know, we could pick Gnomeregan, and if I wanted to see what type of items drop from there, I can have a look at which BOEs, transmog farming, I can actually dig up, and then I can then place those on the auction house. Now obviously the transmog items do take a little while to get a hold of, but it gives me a nice ball game on what is actually going to happen with these. So I can see that the hotshot pilot gloves are there. I can actually hold down control, and then I can see on my character what they will look like. And if I click normally, I can see what they will look like as well. Now, this just gives me a nice little overview on what's going to actually transpire in these dungeons. I can do this for BFA, and I can then see which type of items drop from certain specific dungeons. So I can then look on normal, heroic, mythic, and it's basically like a dungeon journal, but for pretty much everything, and covers all of the trash loot, which I find exceptionally helpful moving forward. Now, the next add-on that I actually use, and if I can... Now, if I just quickly move myself across, I'll just put myself there, and basically in the bottom corner, we can see something over here, and it's showing me a load of code for throwing errors and all of that jazz. Now, this is called BUGGRABBER, and I use this for developing WORTHIT. It basically tells me if I've made a mistake when it comes to the code, and it's throwing us an error, and then I can then click on that and find out what's causing the error and how I can best go about fixing it, so to speak, because then it tells me exactly where the error is roughly coming from, and then I can adjust the add-on in order to make it work without any errors. Now, that is mainly what I use for my development of WORTHIT, and it works pretty damn awesome. So that being the case, there's not much else I can really do with that, which is a BUYTHEMALL. Now, BUYTHEMALL is an add-on which then you can buy loads of multiple things, such as if I hold shift and I wanted to buy a load of different things. So, and say I can then say I want to have at least 1000 enchanted Velium. This is a really simple add-on to use. I can just say 1000, and then I can press enter and buy 1000 of that item without having to do 200, 200, 200. You can just say exactly how much you want, and this is very handy if you're doing a lot of crafting, because then you can just type in the number you want and you will buy that specific load of items. Now, for instance, that is pretty much what's actually going to be transpiring. The stacks on that note, I can then add a stack, add a stack, add a stack if I really wanted to. I can say my max amount of stacks that I want. So how many of a particular item I can buy with the max amount of currency. And this does work with other currencies also, which I find really helpful when I'm just doing my standard farming and crafting. And it's a very handy utility add-on for just buying stuff for crafting and just doing loads of other things. Now, the next add-on that I wanted to run through is disenchant crafted items. Now, when you're crafting something, you can obviously craft something to actually disenchant. Now, if you say you are an enchanter and you're doing the APPRAISER craft, you can then just press make a macro that disenchants that particular item. Well, This item, however, this add-on, however, actually creates a button on your profession window. So we can pull up our profession right now, and obviously this guy's only here just to make bag of anchors, but we'll just pretend that it's a crafted item because I don't have any items I want to disenchant. Say you crafted Tidesbury bracers. On the bottom side of this, round about here, is a button once you have it in your bag, and no matter if it's a harmonious, a fire flash, anything, if it is that item, the Tidesbury bracer, it will just make a button and it will show it where you can just press that button and it will disenchant that item for you, and it covers all of the items in your bags for that one particular item that you crafted. This add-on is really handy when you're trying to do the Tidesbury bracer shuffle, as clicking disenchant and then just pressing the bracer is very time consuming. Now I can just press one button and just watch something else. It's made my life a hell of a lot easier when I'm doing my Tidesbury bracer shuffle. The next add-on that I would like to talk about is Easy Scrap. Basically what Easy Scrap is you can go to your scrapper, and all I have to do is click on it, and I then get shown with a nice little box in which I can queue all, which will queue 9 of these, and then I can just press scrap, and instead of scrapping 1 every button click, it does 9 instead of 1, which is really handy if you're trying to get a load of expulsum like myself when I'm trying to do crafted trinkets and all of that jazz. I found it to be quite helpful overall, and basically this add-on just does what it says on the tin. It makes scrapping items that much easier. So that's pretty much all I have to say for this add-on. It's just a top-notch add-on. It just does what it says on the tin and just does a very good job at that. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is my other add-on, which is Executive Assistant. Now Executive Assistant is basically a task management add-on, and I found this to be very helpful for when I'm actually trying to organize myself for the week and get loads of multiple tasks done. Now for obvious reasons, I did a video yesterday explaining the bare bones basics, the noob's guide to Executive Assistant, and if you haven't watched that, that is yesterday's video. But aside from that, Executive Assistant is by far a brilliant add-on, and I find it to be quite handy when I'm doing my daily gold routine and just keeping myself up to date on what the hell is going on today, what is going on tomorrow. Let's just crack a lack and get it done. Now the next add-on that I use, which I don't use overly all that much anymore, and that is GatherMate. And that is GatherMate 2 and GatherMate 2 Data. Now these add-ons are basically symbiotic, and they work very well together, obviously. That is because they show up all of the different types of nodes that are all around the entire area, and it's quite handy for when you're doing basic farming. So say I wanted to go farm in a specific zone or dungeon, I can then pull up loads of different types of things. So we can go into our interface, go into my add-ons and just run down the next part, which is going into GatherMate 2. I can then go into import, and I can import any herbalism farm nodes. So it shows basically all of the nodes for treasures, fishing nodes, the herbalism nodes, and basically you can craft your own. It just makes it so much easier for when you're trying to do farming and trying to create your own farm in order to do certain things. Now the next add-on that I would like to talk about is HandyNotes, and HandyNotes is just basically an add-on that shows things on the map for you. So basically people will make their own HandyNotes add-ons for treasures, for rares, and it's just so much easier to find out where the rares are and all that jazz. So like I said on the map, this is HandyNotes just telling me where the rares are in which I can kill for additional loot, and just what I can actually do to go about doing that. And if I can go over here, it will tell me where my treasures are. So forgotten treasure, a rares over here. And basically the HandyNotes is just an overall good add-on. A lot of you probably know what HandyNotes already is, and it's just a simplistic add-on that just does the job, and it does it very well. Now the next add-on that I actually use is Loot Appraiser. Now Loot Appraiser is mainly for my hours worth of farming, so if I'm going to do a farming add-on, this is definitely the add-on for you for farming as well. I find that this add-on to be pretty much one of the best farming add-ons for basically farming anything. You can customize and set what you want to use for a price source, what is your threshold, and it will tell you if you get any items of note. Definitely an add-on for you if you're doing just a standard farming, and also most especially I use this mainly for transmog farming. Set the noteworthy items to then ping up. If I get anything really awesome like glorious leg plates, it will then bash out on, it will then just tell me that I've got something really high of note in my bags from my farming. Next add-on that I actually use is roots, and that is mainly because I like to gold farm. I like to have my own roots, like to have my own custom roots, and roots is just an add-on for that. So if we go into roots right now, I can then just type /roots, brings up the roots UI, and I can then just create my own roots in a zone, and then I can then just adjust it as such. Now I can just edit that manually by going edit root and then just play around with that. So the root is like there, and then all I have to do to bring roots back up is then just press save root, and it will show where it is, what it is, and how to do it. Obviously I've never been to Vashir on my Demon Hunter, but aside from all of that, it just draws little routes that can be shown on your map and your mini map in order to do your farming. Aside from that, another add-on that goes very well with roots is Roots Import Export. Now this is Callan's add-on that he created, who also works with me on WORTHIT, and basically it gives you the ability to import and export your own roots and share them with other people. All it does is in the roots UI, so when you bring up roots, if you wanted to export a root, you can just go to information, and there's the export that you just copy and then share with others. And then if you go into add, you can then add your own custom roots by going to roots and then just pasting the root in and then pressing accept. Pretty dead simple add-on. It just gives roots the ability to import and export your own roots to other people, and it's very handy overall. Now the next add-on that I want to talk about is SEXYMAP. Now this is by far one add-on that is only UI based that I probably have, and this is because it sorts out my mini-map, because I'm not a fan of the mini-map. Basically, I love the bottom half of the UI for just in general play style and just personal preference. I've always liked it, but I've never been a fan of the mini-map. So I use SEXYMAP, and I use a simplistic square in order to do all of that stuff. And yeah, it's nothing overly that complex. You just go into interface, you go to add-ons, you close that down obviously, and you can then go over towards your SEXYMAP, and then you can then change what you want it for. So you can change if you want it to be a rune, square, and all of that stuff. I just change it to a square because I think it looks much more cleaner and better overall. Now the next add-on that I use is TOMTOM. Now TOMTOM is a very simplistic add-on to use, and basically what it does, we'll just move this over here, and this shows you coordinates in the actual game and is just easier in order to find certain things. So what TOMTOM can do is it will then use those coordinates, and then it can go into conjunction with other different types of TOMTOM add-ons, which then you can download, and then it shows you where the waypoints of certain things are. So if you're not going for rares like HANDYNOTES or anything like that, TOMTOM is another add-on that does pretty much the exact same thing, but it also shows you how to get to them as well. So there's a difference between TOMTOM and HANDYNOTES. HANDYNOTES just is there for you to know about, and TOMTOM actually will guide you directly to where you're trying to find. Now the next add-on that I want to talk about is World Quest Tracker. Now everyone knows about this, so we're just going to go past this quite fast. World Quest Tracker, it tracks your world quests, and you can make up a nice little list on your right hand side of world quests. We all know what this add-on is, so we're just skipping over it. Now this add-on, now the next add-on is by far obviously the best one in the entire world. Yeah, I don't know who awesome person came up with this one. It's worth it. But aside from this, Worth It is a gold farming add-on in which you basically, what Worth It does is it takes the average on what you're going to get for a basic farm and then goes that by the prices of your server, and then it tells you how much gold per hour you are likely going to be getting on average, and then you can see if it's worth it before you go ahead and do a farm. So I could go into farms, mining. I can see that fell iron ore is the top gold per hour for mining farms at the moment for 13,000 gold. I'm going to go do that. It works in conjunction with roots, so you can import the roots already, and you also have the ability to record your own farms and see how much gold these types of farms are actually worth. And overall, I find that to be a very, very handy add-on overall because it's my add-on. Obviously, I'm going to be biased towards it. Now, the next add-on that I want to talk about is Golden Roots. I've been working on an add-on for Golden Roots for quite a while. It's basically a small add-on in which his roots can be shown on there, and you can import his own roots. So say I wanted to import the copper ore farm, which is Golden Roots' ones. He's another YouTube gold farming YouTuber. Check him out. And I've been working slowly on this. And basically you can just import his root. It will reload your UI and then just crackle on, and it works with roots also. So it's basically like a nice little library we're working on with a load of roots for pretty much everything for him. Last and finally is Trade Skill Master. That is the only other add-on that I use, and that is mainly for posting on the auction house, crafting, and just overall making gold in general. It is the auction house and gold making add-on, and it is not far wrong. It's basically the bread and butter for all gold making at this point, and I find this to be absolutely amazing to use. Aside from all of that, that is basically all the add-ons that I use at the moment in time. At this moment in time, have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.